Welcome into Texas football today here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington for our Thursday preview of the Texas High School Football State Championship games. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com, and that is Matt Stepp, the high school football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We already got past Wednesday. Now,
one day in the books.
Our first full day of 11-man action, 2A and 3A. Crowd going to start to swell a little bit,
Just a tad, yeah. I think we'll start to see the lower level start to fill up a little bit more. That's one of the cool things about the weekend is as each game goes, the crowd gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're excited about Thursday action. Starting with the 11 a.m. kick, 2A Division II, the smallest 11-man classification, a team that's here for the first time against a team that won a title just recently. It's Munster taking on Tenaha for the 2A Division II state championship. I broke this game down earlier on TexasFootball.com. Here's my analysis of the 2A Division II state championship game on Texas Football Today.
Who will cap off a perfect season with a 2A Division II state championship? These are the picks. Welcome into the picks in partnership with All-Star Inflatables, your guides to Texas High School Football State Championship games. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're previewing the 2A Division II state title game. 11 a.m. Thursday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's the Class 2A Division II state championship game between the Munster Hornets and the Tenaha Tigers. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number one, Tenaha's offensive balance. There's speed all over the field for the Tigers, both sides of the ball, but the thing that sets their offense apart is the balance that they have. Yes, they can throw the ball. Their quarterback, C.J. Horn, has been fantastic, and don't get me started on wide receiver Trey Gardner. He is one of the very best receivers in the state at any level. They also have a nearly 2,500-yard rusher in Ontario Thompson, and they need both of those facets to get going against what's going to be the best defense they've seen from Munster. So can Tenaha maintain their offensive balance? Key number two, Munster's defensive front. So if Tenaha is going to get that offensive balance going, they're going to need to get past what's been arguably the best defensive front in all of Class 2A for Munster, led by Colby Cheney and Cody Walterscheid. This defensive front is menacing, they are big, and they are strong. They push people around. So can they have their biggest game on the biggest stage? If they do that, the Hornets have a great shot. And key number three, playing from behind. As you would expect for two teams that are 15-0 and gunning for a state championship, neither of these teams have spent a lot of time trailing their opponents. Munster has only trailed in 2 games this year, and they've been their last 2 games. They trailed briefly in their regional final win over Albany, and then they trailed briefly against Wellington in the state semifinals. And Tenaha, well, Tenaha hasn't trailed since week 1, their win over Joaquin. I will promise you this. Somebody's going to fall behind in this game. What happens then? What happens when one of the teams falls behind into an uncomfortable situation that they haven't found themselves in, especially on the biggest stage? If one team falls behind, can they recover? Who am I picking? I'm going with Munster. The Hornets have been my pick since the beginning of the 2A Division II state playoffs, and I have no reason to jump off the bandwagon right now. We didn't even talk about their outstanding offense with their quarterback Parker McGrew and their running back Clay Stevens. I just think that their defensive front is the difference. The way that they pursue and get pressure in the backfield, I think, is going to be very difficult for Tenaha to handle. Now, make no mistake, Tenaha is the faster team in this game, and if they let their speed get out into space, they've got a fantastic shot. I expect a one-possession game, very close, but in the end, I think Munster wins the 2A Division II state championship.
There you have it, my picks and my analysis of the 2A Division II state championship game. Munster and Tenaha, we kind of, once Munster got past Albany, we kind of thought, okay, this is the game we're probably going to get. Here they are, we figured it was going to be Region 2 against Tenaha, and that's kind of what we got in Tenaha, kind of looking to go wire to wire as at least number 1 at the top of the 2A Division II rankings.
Yeah, Tenaha all year. Last year they went 13-1, fell to Bremond, the machine that was Bremond. This year we kind of thought it was the Tigers' year, and thus far they have proven us correct, as they've really been a dominant team really since the early part of the season. I think they had one close game. I think their season opener may have been tight. When after that, C.J. Horn and company, that offense and that speed that the Tigers bring to the table has really been impressive, and they've really dominated from here on out.
And I think that's one thing I want to bring up, and I mentioned it in my breakdown, is that I think when you think of Tenaha, you think, okay, they're kind of one-dimensional. Like they're gonna have one playmaker. This team is loaded at every position, offensively at least. Quarterback C.J. Horn's been fantastic. They got a great wide receiver in Trey Gardner, and they got a 2,500-yard rusher in Ontario Thompson. They can beat you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, especially Gardner. He had a huge game in the semifinals. He had an interception return for a touchdown. Had a kick return, a 70-yard kickoff return, and set up another score. Had a rushing touchdown and caught a couple of long touchdown passes as well. So he's kind of their X factor. They're gonna do everything with him. But when push comes to shove, they can line up and run the ball right at you with Thompson.
Yeah, they sure can. But they are a team predicated on speed at every position on both sides of the ball. And then you look at Munster. Here for the first time, they are fired up to be here, and we had a chance to see them in their win over Albany. And I'll tell you, the size that Munster has, especially up front on the defensive line, is really a problem for every team that they play, and I wonder what kind of problem it's going to pose for Tenaha.
You'll see some 2A schools that have one, maybe two really big guys. Wellington's a great example. Where they had two monsters in the trenches. Munster's a big team, 1 to 11 on the defensive side of the ball. Even their defensive backs are taller kids. Their linebackers are tall, and up front they don't have one huge kid, but just 1 through 4 up on the defensive line. They've got a bunch of big kids, and so it's good depth, and they're able to wear a lot of teams down. Second half against Wellington in the semifinals, they shut Wellington out. They got behind early, but their defense really rose to the occasion and did a great job.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this Munster team on the big stage. They got, and if you're a big 6A fan or a 5A fan, you may not be used to seeing kids play both ways. You will definitely see it in
You'll
this
see
game.
a lot of it.
The best players are going to play both ways, whether it's Parker McGrew, the quarterback for Munster, or Clay Stevens, their kind of running back and defensive back. Those are the two guys to keep an eye on offensively, as well as their outstanding wide receiver, Danny Lutmer. But then, Tenaha is going to have a bunch of guys going both ways. You mentioned Trey Gardner made big plays defensively in their semifinal win. And so I wonder, a lot of these 2A games, and especially, a lot of these teams are not used to playing close games. They've been killing people. This, we figure, is going to be a close game. And you wonder how much the fourth quarter, how much conditioning is going to come down to it.
No question. You add in the fact that this is a pressure-packed environment. The kids' adrenaline is going to be really rushing in the first and second quarter. They're going to be really amped up, and they're going to be kind of running off adrenaline. Once halftime hits and the second half comes, and they're kind of coming down from that adrenaline, who's in better shape, who's in better condition, and who doesn't get banged up. One injury in a 2A game, you lose 2 guys, or sometimes 3 guys if you think about it, if he's a key special teams contributor as well. So obviously staying healthy and health will be a big issue in this game as well in the second half.
It's going down 11 a.m. Thursday here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, the 2A Division II state championship game between Munster and Tenaha. All right, Step, putting you on the spot. 2A Division II champion is going to be?
Give me Tenaha. I like Tiger speed.
All right, I'm going with Munster. I just like their size. I think we figure it's going to be a close game.
No doubt.
All right, so that's the 2A Division II championship game starting at 11 a.m. on Thursday here at AT&T. Here we're Texas football today. We are previewing the Thursday slate of games here for the UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games. And then 3 o'clock, we get a good one. 3A Division I action. Brock looking for their second title in 3 years in their young program history.
4 years. It's only been around 4 years, and they're playing their second state title game.
Unbelievable, and they will draw Rockdale out of the Brazos Valley, a team that maybe we didn't expect to be here. First state championship game since 1974, is that right?
76.
76.
A long time. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Well, I broke this game down earlier on TexasFootball.com. Here's my breakdown of the 3A Division I state championship game on Texas Football Today.
Will Brock win its second state title in 3 years, or will Rockdale take home its first crown since 1976 in the 3A Division I state title game? These are the picks. Welcome into the picks in partnership with All-Star Inflatables, your guide to Texas High School Football State Championship games. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're previewing the 3A Division I state title game. 3 o'clock Thursday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's the Class 3A Division I state championship game between the Brock Eagles and the Rockdale Tigers. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number 1, Rockdale superstars. And there is a pair of them that are going to blow your socks off. It starts with Jaqueline Crawford. This guy can do it all in all phases of the game. He is a threat on offense, on defense, and in special teams. And he pretty much single-handedly took down Yoakum in the state semifinals. And that's not to mention Tori Lachlan, the quarterback for the Tigers, who has just been sensational all year long. It's going to be up to Zach Young and this very good Brock defense to contain those two guys. Who will have the bigger game, the Brock defense or Rockdale Stars? Key number 2, Brock's offensive line. You know, for all we talk about the stars and the headliners on this Brock offense, like quarterback Trip Jones, their running backs, Dawson Littlepage, and Tanner Patino, if you ask Coach Chad Worrell, he'll tell you that it all happens up front. It all starts with the Eagles' offensive line, which has been one of the very best in all of Class 3A. They push and push, and they have great pass protection and run blocking. They can really do it all. This is going to be a big test for Rockdale. Can they find a way to get through that very good Brock offensive line, or will the big hog mollies up front have a big state title game? And key number 3, the first half. Both of these teams like to jump on their opponents early and really squeeze the life out of them before halftime, and that was in full display in their state semifinal wins. For Brock, they were up 35-0 on Kemp at halftime, while Rockdale jumped out to a 28-7 lead over Yoakum en route to a big state semifinal win. So who can do that? Who can start hot in the first half? I think that's a big key in this one because neither of these teams are used to trailing at halftime. Who am I picking? I'm going with Brock. I think having that state championship pedigree from 2 years ago is a big player here, but I think their defense is the real secret weapon. They have been outstanding all year long. Go back to their regional semifinal win over Wall. That was the one that really turned the tide for this Eagles team. I think they're able to grind it out on the ground with Dawson Littlepage and Tanner Patino. If the Rockdale superstars like Jaquaylin Crawford and Tori Laughlin can have a big game, I think the Tigers have a great shot. But for now, I think Brock wins the 3A Division I state championship.
There you go, my breakdown of the 3A Division I state championship game. It's Brock and it's Rockdale. Let's start with this. Maybe two teams we didn't expect to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock, when they upset Wall, kind of really raised our eyebrows because, you know, this is a team that lost their season finale to Breckenridge in a game that we were really surprised about. And we kind of, I think a lot of people, self included, wrote the Eagles off a little bit. And then they all of a sudden put that impressive performance against Wall together, followed it up with a big win over Comanche, and the Eagles have gotten the job done, while Rockdale emerged from that incredibly tough District 10 3A Division I and then navigated a real tough 3A Region 3 bracket. I mean, the Tigers are really a battle-tested ball club.
Yeah, they really are. They have played a very difficult schedule. Both these teams have absolutely earned their way here. And you know what's funny? I think that these two teams are going to go about things in a bit of a different way. Rockdale, let's start with them. This is a team with superstars. They have Jaquaylin Crawford, who is kind of a do-it-all athlete. He's going to be all over the field, offense, defense, special teams. And then their quarterback, Tori Laughlin, who has just been sensational all year long.
What a coup for Rockdale to get Laughlin, who's got a lot of legacy in Rockdale, back from New Mexico for his senior year. You know, kind of that connection where his dad got that assistant coaching job in Canada. He had to move in with his aunt, you know, kind of coming home to his roots in Rockdale, and he's taken this Tigers team and put him on his back. He had 337 yards rushing in what I would call an upset win over Yoakum in the state semifinals.
At least the margin, the dominance was an upset for sure. Maybe not necessarily the fact that they won, but the fact that they just really took it to the Bulldogs. And then Jaquaylin Crawford's a kid who, you know, in the small school level, sometimes you look for one or two players to take over. If there is a candidate to take this game over and put the team on his back, it's Jaquaylin Crawford.
Yeah, Crawford's an OU commit, so, you know, Sooner fans get a chance to watch a future guy play for them. I believe he's going to sign after the state championship games. His focus is completely on his teammates and his Tigers. He wants to win that state title for his town. And I think we're going to have a lot of folks from Milam County here on Thursday afternoon.
I think we will as well. And then you go on the other side. And here's Brock. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. What a job Chad Worrell has done there at Brock. A guy who has built this program literally from nothing.
Yes.
Their fourth varsity season in their second state championship game.
Unbelievable.
And
he's setting the bar pretty high there.
Yeah. No pressure, dude. But if you start making like regional semis and don't go past
run you out of town, coach.
Exactly. But it is a remarkable story for them, you know, to kind of shake off two kind of baffling losses. Yeah. Midland Christian's a good private school team. And then Breckenridge, who, you know, that ended up being the district championship, but then Breckenridge got bumped in the first round, and we started kind of cocking our eyebrows and saying, okay, is this team really that good? Well, the running game and the defense have been the difference. They have hit a new gear in the playoffs.
They're definitely peaking at the right time. This is a fairly young Brock team. I think we have a chance to see them back next year. I believe they're going to have 8 or 9 back on both sides of the ball next year. So you almost think, I know Coach Worrell wouldn't admit this, but they might be a year ahead of schedule in making this run. But they've definitely a team that adage of peaking at the right time is definitely fitting the Brock Eagles here.
Yeah, I'll tell you that you know, whereas Rockdale has one or two guys who are real superstars, The Brock team is good and they're really sound, but I think that when you look at this, it's more of a whole, a sum of the parts type thing.
Absolutely.
The offensive line's very good. Got a couple of running backs in Tanner Patino and Dawson Littlepage. A solid quarterback play as well as a great linebacker in Zach Young. But this is not a team that if you're looking for prospects, with all due respect to them, you're not going to see it in like Jaquaylin Crawford. You're not going to have that kind of guy. Instead, this is a team that is just very sound. They run the ball. They stop the run, and that's the key for success in this one, too.
No doubt. I think the big key for me, the big matchup I want to watch is that Brock aggressive 10-1 defense. They play that old Salinas-style defense, kind of man press across the board, one deep safety. It's a really high-risk, high-reward type defense, and I want to see how Rockdale combats that because with Rockdale's speed, they could break some big plays. And that's one thing that defense is real susceptible to.
That is one thing to keep an eye on. Is that I will say that Rockdale's probably the fastest team Brock has seen.
Yeah.
This is a burner team for the Tigers, and so I know that they want to get out and run. And when you don't have those guys sitting back there to catch these guys, if they get past that first line of defense,
it's house.
There may not be a second line of defense, and
exactly.
so that is one thing to keep an eye on in this game. A fantastic matchup. We're very excited for the 3:00 game, 3A Division I title game between Brock and Rockdale. All right, Step. Who you got in 3A Division I?
All right, I'm going to do a little bit of an end around here. I'm going to full disclosure. I took Brock in my picks, but after really thinking about it, I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to go with Rockdale on this one.
So you're saying there's no? Listen to this guy. He's trying to definitely be right no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting it on the record now. Rockdale. I'm picking Rockdale.
Okay. I'm going to
disregard my written picks.
I'm going to stick with Brock. For me. It really turned my head when they were able to slow down Wall and Comanche in consecutive weeks, who were outstanding running attacks.
Wall had like 41 yards rushing in that game.
It was insane.
For the whole game, 41 yards.
How they were able to shut them down. I just think this Brock defense and this grinding running attack, I think they will have an advantage in the trenches that gets them a win. I'm going to go with Brock. I think they pull a close win.
Should be a great one.
Be a great one. 3:00 on Thursday, the 3A Division I state championship game between Brock and Rockdale. We're here at AT&T Stadium. Texas Football Today breaking down the Thursday slate of UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games. That's Matt Stepp. I'm Greg Tepper. And there's the nightcap. 3A Division II.
Oh, boy, it's a good one.
I got to say, if you're only going to watch one game, maybe make it this one. It's the Gunner Tigers, the defending state champs, taking on the Newton Eagles, who have been at the top of the rankings for the entire season. This is going to be a barn burner. Very excited about this one. I broke it down earlier on TexasFootball.com. Here's my breakdown of the 3A Division II state championship game here on Texas Football Today.
It's the matchup we've all been waiting for the 3A Division II state championship. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks in partnership with All-Star Inflatables, your guide to Texas High School Football State Championship games. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're previewing the 3A Division II state title game. 7 o'clock Thursday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's the Class 3A Division II state championship game between the Gunner Tigers and the Newton Eagles. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number one, scheme versus speed. So Gunner kind of lit the Texas high school football world on fire last year with their outrageous pistol option offense, and Dylan Jantz is doing it again. He has been fantastic for this Tigers attack that's been nigh impossible to slow down. But I think this is going to be a really interesting test for them, because Newton might be the fastest defense in the entire state. They have playmakers all over the field, led by their outstanding linebacker, Corbin Foster. So the schematic advantage will lie with Gunner. The speed advantage will lie with Newton. Who wins out? Key number two, Newton's changeup. So Newton is primarily a run-based offense. They're going to give the ball a lot to Darwin Barlow because good things tend to happen when they hand it to that young man. But they have a passing game as well, and it's especially effective in play action. Their quarterback, Josh Foster, has had a very good game. So what does the Gunner defense do to counterpunch? What can Zach Lowe and this Tigers defense, which has been exceptional all year long, do to slow down a multifaceted threat from Newton? That's a big key in this one. And key number three, getting guntered. Around the Dave Campbell's Texas football offices, we've started using the word gunter as a verb, as in, wow, look at that, they're getting guntered. Or, oh, Tigers are guntering their opponent. And what that means is that the Tigers tend to come in waves. This is a team that once they start going, it is very hard to stop. And suddenly you look up and you're down 28-7, or you're down 35-3. This is a team that gets on a roll, and it's very hard to slow them down. Can Newton stop that? Can they stem the tide, or will Gunter keep on guntering? Who am I picking? I'm going with Newton. This might be the toughest state championship game to call this year, but I think that Newton's speed is the difference. They have such playmakers all over the field, and when they get running, they can't be slowed down. For Gunter, their offense is their biggest advantage. The schematic advantage they have with that outstanding pistol option offense is very hard to slow down, and so for Newton's defense, that's a big challenge. That said, I've been picking the Eagles since the beginning of the playoffs. I'm not going to hop off the bandwagon now. I think Newton wins the 3A Division II state championship.
There it is, my breakdown of the 3A Division II state championship game. Gunter and Newton. Look, I think there was a collective fist pump, with all due respect to the other teams in 3A Division II. I think when both these teams punched their ticket here, we thought that this matchup was so tantalizing.
Oh, man, it's great.
And there is so much to sink your teeth into. Let's start with Gunter, because they're the defending champs. They deserve to be talked about first. We had heard in the offseason from Jake Fizzell and his staff, they're like, we think this team has a chance to be better. And you know what? Boy, they might be right. This team is really, really good.
31 wins in a row now. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest reason why Gunter's better is two things. They've got an elite playmaker in Dylan Jantz, who is a Division I prospect.
Yes, he is.
I believe he holds multiple Division I offers. And they're in that second year of that really unique pistols triple option offense. Mm-hmm. Those types of offenses take some time to get the timing down, to get the reads down, and now they're in that second year of the system, and I think you're really starting to see them reap the rewards of that. They were unstoppable last week in their win over Canadian, scoring 56 points without throwing a single pass.
It's really impressive. The other side, their defense is very good as well. Zach Lowe, the anchor of what's been one of the very best defenses in 3A Division II. And on the other side, I mentioned in my picks, we got scheme versus speed, because boy, howdy, can Newton fly.
Yeah, they've got
this is one of the fastest teams in all of Texas at any level. They are burners.
Yeah, our good friend Gabe Brooks, we went to see them play earlier in the year and was just raving about the talent that Newton had. You know, he thought they had 4 or 5 Division I players, which at a 3A Division II level is absolutely staggering. And I think you got to start with Darwin Barlow, their junior running back. He's kind of the bell cow of their team. I believe he's already picked up a couple of offers as a junior. He kind of makes that offense go, but they've got a lot of other playmakers as well.
Yeah, they're actually a relatively balanced offense. I think that they want to give the ball to Barlow. He is their bell cow. You're exactly right. But they can throw the ball a little bit as well, and especially out of play action, I think that's something to keep an eye on. And the defense, you're just talking about team speed from sideline to sideline, and whereas Gunter has played teams that are fast, I'm not sure they've played teams that are this fast, and they are going to fly. And so that is why, in my breakdown, I mentioned this is a matchup of scheme versus speed. That is the way to slow down Gunter, which is something nobody's done.
Nope, not yet.
Is the way to do it just to be the fastest team in the world, because that's what we're going to find out in this one, and I'm absolutely fascinated by this game.
And I think the key for Newton is going to be they've got 2 really good defensive tackles who are young but really big and really talented. Those guys are going to have to be disruptive in order to really knock an option offense like that off their rhythm. You've got to mess up the play, mess the timing up early on, and take away one of their reads. If they can really be disruptive up the middle, I think they can really throw off the quarterback's reads, and then it allows the rest of the speed to kind of rally to the football.
But I'll tell you, this Gunter team, we were sitting here at the state championship game, and I'll admit it was the first time. I mean, I'd seen highlights. First time I got to see Gunter in person, and my goodness.
They're impressive.
When that offense gets rolling, and they're all just very sound. To really mollywop bowling last year was really impressive. And this is a lot of the same guys. A lot of this same team. You mentioned Dylan Jantz has just gotten better. On the Newton side, if there's a game breaker, it's probably Tamazia Brown.
Yes.
This is a guy they're going to put all over the field. He's a big-time wide receiver. I think he's a big-time. I think his prospect as a prospect, he's kind of profiling as a wide receiver.
Yeah, but he's also a great defensive back.
Yeah.
He's got 11 interceptions. The problem is, I don't know if Gunter's going to throw the ball. He might be doing most of his damage in run support. So we'd see how, he's got to stick his nose in there and make plays in run support on Thursday night.
I believe on the predictions page I actually wrote, heck, I don't know. Yeah. Because this game is, I really mean this. If you're only going to watch one game, I think it's this one. The Thursday night affair, 7 o'clock, the 3A Division II state championship game between Gunter and Newton. It's going to be a fantastic one. Step, who you got?
I'm going to ride the Newton train one more week. I think the Eagles' speed is going to be the difference in this one. I think they'll find a way to contain Gunner, and I think they're going to make some big plays.
I took Newton too, and I don't like it at all.
I don't feel great about either pick, but that's good for you, the fan, because you're going to see an awesome game.
I think on our predictions at TexasFootball.com, I think we combined our 5 predictions were separated by about 8 points. It's we expect this to be a very close game, but Gunner at the same time, they dominated last year and they've been dominating people all year long. Fascinating matchup. Really excited about the 3A Division II state championship game going down on Thursday at 7 o'clock here at AT&T Stadium, and that will wrap up Thursday. So that is going to do it for us. Thank you for tuning in for the preview show of the Thursday slate of the UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com for Matt Stepp. I'm Greg Tepper. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later on Texas Football Today.